So welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for the 110 subscribers. I didn't realize that you people are so interested in farming, but you know what? I think it's a good thing because Kenya needs a bit more farmers than it does need techies. Sorry to all my tech bros and tech scissors, but we need more people in these industries so that we can be able to provide food. I mean, what's a techie without food? Yeah, so anyway, but if they can come up with innovative ways to actually make things easier for farmers, then I'm so in, and I'd love to be a part of that. Anyway, so I had said that I'm going to give you an overview on the pros and cons of deep litter system. So right here is where my system is. I'm probably going to have the lights on, and I said I'm going to do this in less than 5 minutes or 7. Reason being, I love long form videos, but not so much. I find it very easy for people to watch through a 10-minute video than watching through a 30 minutes video. But I do think even the 30-minute video offers you enough knowledge and information. So here we go. So I had no choice, as I mentioned. When it comes to my flock, I had no choice but to redistribute them. So I was forced to redistribute them. So I moved them from the cages and I put them here because there were too many and they were squeezed. Until we're able to get new cages for the remaining ones, then they're gonna have to stay here. So it's not something that I do want, but it's something that I have to do. I have no other choice. Okay, so yeah, let me just change the camera so that you can be able to see them instead of me. Ideally, okay, number one, I think one of the advantages of this particular system is that the chickens can move freely, as opposed to the other side where they don't really move freely. Yeah, that's a good thing for them. I mean, and of course you don't get into trouble with the animal husbandry people because they kind of don't like this method, and I tend to disagree with them on that because I feel like we're also doing business. We're not here to cater to so much, but of course we do care about their well-being, and that's why we make sure that the environment is to a T. And so yeah, here they get to move freely, they get to enjoy the benefits of being an animal because they are animals, you know. They're now able to move freely, which is good for them, and it's less stress for them, you know, because now they can flap their wings as much as they want to, and yeah, do a lot of things. Apart from that, with this side, what happens is that what else? I genuinely don't have any good thing to say about this side, but I do have a lot to say about the disadvantages of this side. But again, let me go back to the advantages. The advantages is that it's low cost. It's very low cost. I think if you have enough space, that is, you can be able to keep this. You can be able to use this method. If you have a lot of space, you have a lot of land, then I think you can be able to use this space. And of course, that's one of the things I always say, that if you're doing farming, you definitely need to have land. And I'll be able to share the contacts for anybody who would be interested in buying land. I think it's very important for people to buy land for agriculture basis. And also, it's really helpful if you know where to get it with proper due diligence and all of that. I am not one to know much about land, but anyway, I do believe that you should get land from reputable people. I personally recommend Fanaka, which is a real estate company that mostly has its hold in the sides Katani. There is Katani Gardens. There is I think they had another project that they were doing, but I don't know much about it. I will leave the contacts below for that particular company so that you can be able to see whether you can be able to purchase land, because no matter what you say, I think it's very essential for you to have land for you to be able to do any of these projects, whether it's you're doing the deep litter system or you're doing the cage system. Anyway, I digress and I move back to what I was saying concerning space. So the advantage of this is that it's low cost. That means you don't necessarily have to buy cages. You're just gonna need these things, and maybe I think the only other thing you can do is you can call the guys I usually have on call for my cages. They also automate water for you. because I know that most of the times what happens is that water can get really dirty. So sometimes these are the kind of problems I face, because this water has already been dirtified a bit. So that's why we try and make sure that we raise it up a bit higher, so that in the very least they are not that the water is not that dirty. Because like this one the water is not too dirty, so in the very least that one is a bit good. And so you see, when the water is dirty, it is, prone to making them have infections. So yeah, that's, you can automate the water, especially if you have space, so you can use this kind of system. So it's low cost, doesn't involve much, just space. And unaleta maranda, you can use maranda, the wood chips, you place them down here, and yeah, you'll have a nice space. And you see, you can always change this after a couple of months. See how it looks, and it has to be really dry. I really recommend that this has to be really dry, because if it's not dry, what happens is that there's going to be a lot of ammonia here, and that's the reason as why I don't recommend for this. And again, I said I'm going to do this video in less than 10 minutes, so I'm really trying to make sure that I'm also on point and to a T. So moving forward, I only have 2 advantages, and I think those are the 2: that it's low cost, and it will there's freedom for the birds. So that means they can be able to naturally be in their natural state, So yeah, and it's a good thing if they are, because then they get to produce. But at the same time, I'll move to the disadvantages so that you guys are able to know the reasons why I do not recommend for this particular system. So, one thing I always say about this system is that much as this requires space, I believe that from what you can see here, I think I have here about 70 birds. I have about 70 birds to 80 birds here, and as you can see, they have already filled half of this space. Because they, much as you're talking about space, they need adequate space. They're not supposed to be in a squeezed space. So ideally, we recommend 4 birds per square meter, or 6 birds if at all you are the kind of person who wants to really squeeze into your budget and your space, ideally. So you need about, you need a really good space, because even 200, it's not recommended for this space. 200, I think this is also so small for them. This is very, very small for them, and you don't want that. You genuinely do not want them to be too squeezed up here. So because when they're too squeezed, what will happen is that they will start fighting for resources, and when they fight for resources, then you're going to have issues of cannibalism, where they're going to be eating on each other. You're going to have one amemkula, uku. I found mine amekula kidogo hapo, because of course now the resources, they in their heads, in a kani kama they're fighting for resources. So, and you don't want that. And also because they're gonna poop a lot, so kutakuwa na a lot of water, and the space will be very, what can I say, damp, so you don't want to squeeze them. So number one is that, so you need really a lot of space. I think that's a very big disadvantage, and so it can be very cumbersome for you if at all you don't have enough space. So yeah, and those are recommendations: 4 birds per square meters. If you're doing it to the max, 6 birds. Yeah, but I still wouldn't encourage. But anyway, number 2, if you're not automating water, this system can really make it very difficult for you, because you see the other system is automated in terms of water. They come as a full package, and so what happens if you're still using this? Most of the times they're going to be prone to diseases, because the water they ingest, or rather they drink, is going to really be bad for their reproductive system. So you don't want that when it comes to these birds. And again, also, you remember, you have to leave some space for them to be able to lay eggs. And so one of the troubles that I had faced when I put my birds here was that they would break a lot of eggs, and they would dirtify the eggs as well. And this goes back to the point about space. When you don't have enough space, this is a very difficult system to use. When you don't have enough space, it's very difficult, because again, you see, you have to set aside the nesting boxes area. That was pretty much like a nesting box per se, but it didn't work quite well. I didn't enjoy this system, because again, I would have my buyers talking about how the eggs are dirty, and I don't like that ideally, because now again that means that you're gonna need to clean them up, and you don't really want to go into all of that. So you want to kind of reduce that. Anyway, let me change the camera so that we can focus on me a bit, maybe you want to see my face for a bit. Anyway, no, let me continue. I really prefer this so that I can be able to show you how the place looks like. This is me after reducing them to a bit of some of them went back to the cages, so I really loved that because it's much easier for me to work on them when they're in the cages. So yeah, moving forward to the other disadvantage is that it will require a lot of labor. When you're having the system, it's very laborious, it's very time consuming, and you don't want that. You see, when the other guys are on the other side, it's very easy for you to automate a lot of things. The water is automated, and the food, much as it's not automated, it's much easier to offer to give them food at the particular timings. So it wouldn't really require like a lot of people. But this one, it can be very cumbersome when it comes to trying to be able to, what's this called, to have just one employee. What will happen is that it will be very tricky for them to handle this flock, and so you probably need more guys on the job, which I genuinely I don't recommend. I think the other system is way better, because again, when it comes to hiring people, it can be very tricky to hire people, and you have to really hope that you are hiring people with integrity, and which leads me to the next disadvantage, is that it's very easy for you to lose track of your flock when you're on this side, and so there can be cases of theft, and you may not be able to know, because even if I'm to be told to count the number of birds that are here, I can hardly be able to say how many they are. I cannot easily account for them, so accountability can be very difficult. And so unfortunately, I hope this is not going to be you. If you find somebody who is not trustworthy, doesn't have integrity, then it's very easy for them to steal from you, and that can be very detrimental for you, because again, kuna mayai, and they can make claims that they are broken, but they're not, and it's just that they maybe are doing their own scrupulous businesses, or they're just doing something fishy, they're dodgy and all of that, and maybe even they're selling your chickens out there. But anyway, for me, I've been blessed that I've had very good employees. I'm really happy about that. And I think my key element when it comes to hiring somebody is hoping and really testing this person's integrity. I generally don't test integrity in by setting traps or anything, but I will just be able, because I'm a telephone boss sometimes, but I'm also I come to visit the farm as often as possible. So okay, so my videos keep cutting me short because I also have a time limit. But anyway, I'm about to finish this video in like less than 1 minute or so. So I was saying that I was so blessed to have good employees who are who have integrity, and I think that is very key in this business. So with this one, it's very hard for you to account for the birds that you have here, and so you really genuinely need to have a keen eye. I don't know how you're going to do it, but it's going to be very difficult. Somebody can easily steal from you, and you may not know. So I think I take that as a disadvantage. It's very hard to account for things. So my recommendation is that you opt for the cages. The battery cage system is very good, and I would always go for that, because then you can account for your birds so easily. The other thing is that ideally, what will happen is that when you have this system, it can be very easy for diseases to, go from one bird to the next, because you see they're touching each other, they're doing everything. But then the other side, the diseases are very you can control the disease. The disease control here can be very difficult because of the fact that they're down. They can spread so fast, so you don't really want that. You want to be able to deal with one particular hen or whatever, you want to be able to deal with one bird at a time. But for this one bird gets sick, it's likely that the whole flock is. So, and you don't want that, because then if all the birds are sick, then they're not producing, and if they're not producing, you're not getting money, and if you're not getting money, then your business is almost failing. But again, it's not failure, because these things tend to happen. So always project for when things are not going right, and in the course of you projecting, you're able also to allow yourself room to make error, to make mistakes, and at the same time, and more importantly, learn on how you're going to be able to deal with issues that may come even when you introduce the next batch and the next batch and the next batch. So because I said my video is almost about to cut me short, I am quickly going to finish the video, and I'll check you out on the next one, where I'm going to be talking money, because I'm pretty sure that everybody wants to hear money, you know, about the money. You want to know about the money, so I want to go into that, because I promised on this video. That's why I deliver it, and I'm sorry that I delivered it very late, but I hope it's been helpful to you. I'll break it down in a section, so that you can be able to figure out what is important to you and what is not, you know. So thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.